Hello there. My name is Heather Stewart. And first off, I want to thank you for watching this video. I know you've just started, and hopefully you continue to watch it. But I feel that this message is really, really important for everyone to hear, especially during this time. The date of this recording is October 21st of 2020. And we are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic still. It's been going on for a very long time, and a lot of us are suffering. We're seeing rises in the amount of mental health issues and suicides, and the reality of it is so much of that has to do with the fact that people are holding on to the emotions that they have around what is happening in the world. COVID isn't the only thing that's happening. There is so much happening globally. And as a society, we have learned to put on a brave face and present ourselves in such a way that we have little to no emotion and we don't let people in. And having emotion is a sign of weakness, and it's a sign of someone not having their life put together. And it's just not the case. And what I want to focus on in this presentation is how it is okay to not be okay. It is okay to have emotions. Not only is it okay, but it's natural, especially given the times that are happening right now. But even beyond this, because this will not last forever. COVID will not be around forever. But moving past there, I really want to share the message and help people understand that regardless of what's going on for you, it's okay to have and express emotions. And what I'm also going to help try and do is give whoever is watching this some tools and understanding of what to do with those emotions, to enable you not to be crippled by them. And that's why we've gotten to the place we've gotten to, that people are afraid of emotions, because they haven't been given the right tools to understand how to deal with them and how to continue to exist while having these emotions. So thank you again for being a viewer of this. I hope this message resonates with you. And as I mentioned, it's the 21st of October of 2020. We are currently 222 days into the COVID pandemic. That is a daunting number. That's 222 days that you've been afraid. 222 days of being fearful, of being worried, of being frustrated, of being mad, all of these emotions that are probably happening for you. You've had them now for 222 days. That's going on a full year. And that is it's just a crazy number. And when I did the calculations today, I was just baffled. And it's just a reality check as to how we are doing throughout all of this, and understanding that the emotions that we feel are completely real and they are understood and they are completely valid. And as we move forward through this pandemic, just keep that in mind, that this stuff is real and you've had this going on for you for a really long time. I wanted to point out some of the statistics around the negative outcomes of bottling up emotions. So some of the effects of bottling up emotions can be an increased risk of premature death by 30%, and an increased risk of cancer diagnosis by 70%. And that's just by holding on to these emotions that are naturally happening within you. Some short-term effects are mental and physical effects like high blood pressure, low mood, and poor self-esteem. And some long-term risks are heart disease and diabetes. And holding on to emotions can also increased harbor feelings of aggression and depression and anxiety. And that's all by just hanging on to what we can easily let go of. But again, we've been so designed and so told over and over and over and over and over again that we need to hang on to these emotions, because if we have emotions, we're weak and we're not happy and we don't have our stuff together. And it's just not right. These reports and these numbers show us that the more we hang on to these emotions, these negative emotions, the more it's going to hurt us in the long run and the short run. As you see, I mean, if you're suffering from low mood, and if you're suffering from poor self-esteem, and you're suffering from just a lack of motivation and a lack of direction and all those things, it's probably because you're holding on to a lot of these emotions that you need to let go of. And studies also show that not acknowledging emotions will actually make them stronger. Um, and it's what happens is it turns into this big rolling ball going down the hill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just going to get too big, and it's going to get too unmanageable, and you're going to end up bursting. And um it's not advisable to hang on to this stuff. It's better for you, it's better for your family, it's better for your loved ones if you find a way to create a space, to create an environment, to create a conversation for you to let go of these things. What you resist persists. So the more you resist having these emotions, the more emotions that you're going to feel. So, I want to give you some tips on how to get these emotions out. And uh, we've just talked about how important that is. So, I just wanted to give you some ideas on what you could do to help get these emotions out. So, if you're not comfortable talking to someone about these emotions, journaling is an excellent way of getting emotions out. Journaling is one of those amazing tools that everyone can do, that is a very easy way for you to get the emotions out. And not only is it getting the emotions out, but you can actually see the emotions flood onto your pages, or even if you have to type it on your computer or your phone, just getting it out will allow you to recognize exactly what's going on for you. And a lot of times when you get into a flow with journaling, things will come out that you didn't even consciously know of, that you weren't consciously aware of, and it will literally just come flooding out of you, and you will feel so much better after it. So I encourage you to create a journaling habit before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning. And as well, think about those times to journal when you're feeling really heightened, when your body is telling you that something is going on. Make sure you have the ability, or make sure you can create a time for you to actually start doing that journaling. Talking to a friend or family member is obviously one of those things that can really help you, but I appreciate how hard that is for some people, especially if they're in a position where they've never really opened up to people before. So maybe it's about finding that safe friend or family member that you know isn't going to judge you or isn't going to be harsh with you, is just going to be a really good listening sounding board for you to release this emotion, so you can not hold on to it anymore. You can ask for help. There are lots of support people out there for COVID and this pandemic that are able and willing to help anyone that needs to talk to someone, whether it be a psychiatrist, a therapist, a counselor, a coach like myself. Ask for the help that you need. There's absolutely no truth to asking for help as a weakness. This is the time that if you need the help, you got to get it. And so don't be afraid. Try not to be afraid. I know a lot of people are in a space of fear right now, but I encourage you to try and ask for the help. Try and muster up the courage to ask for the help that you need. There's also lots of safe groups or circles around that, of people that are feeling similar to you or exactly like you. So it might be take a bit of searching around, but maybe try and find a circle of people around you or virtually that are talking about this stuff, so you can actually open up and be open and honest about your feelings. You can also have a creative outlet. Maybe it's a vision board, maybe it's writing a story, maybe it's creating art. Art therapy is huge, but it's another way for you to express yourself if words aren't comfortable for you. So discover some ways that you can get creative about having that outlet. If it's music, if it's, like I said, poetry, writing, vision board, whatever it is, painting, drawing, like anything that's going to give you an outlet for you to express these emotions. And when you're doing that, you really have to think about what emotions you're feeling and what impact it's having on your body in that moment. And that's what you want to release. And I know this next one's going to sound crazy, but screaming, physically getting aggressive in a safe way, obviously, but if it's screaming, if it's like, some people like to punch things, that's why they go to boxing classes. Like, if it's that physical release that you need, go out in a remote area and just scream your guts out. You wouldn't believe how therapeutic that is. And honestly, it's a really great way for you to have a release of emotions, and exercise is huge. I've talked to so many people that are stunted with their exercise because they lack the motivation, but that's the one thing that can actually have a daily impact on your emotional well-being is exercise. That is an endorphin release. It's a release of emotions, and it's a release of your energy. So not only are you getting out that emotional energy, but you're also releasing your pent up, like, just physical energy. And it can really have a positive impact in how you feel emotionally if you continue to have your body move. It doesn't have to be strenuous exercise, but just keep your body moving. And if you have been in a spot where you're not able to be um, super diligent with your exercise, start small. Don't just start being like, yeah, I'm going to run 4 days a week. Start small. Just say, listen, I'm going to do a walk a day or a walk every 3 days or whatever it is, and keep building on that habit again. Because that's also about giving yourself the loving kindness to understand where you're at right now. This is a serious situation for so many people, for all of us, and it's about setting yourself up for success. And the last thing I'd want any of you to do is to set yourself up with a goal and end up failing and feeling worse about yourself. So when you are starting to create this habit, make sure you're building it up slowly and gently, and have that loving kindness to understand that, you know what, I'm going through a lot right now. I'm going to start out slow and go from there. So those are some tips on how to actually get the emotions out. And I just wanted to kind of address some of the emotions that I know I have, and I've talked to a lot of people. And I just wanted you to think about when you have these emotions like mad and lonely and isolated and out of control and angry and scared and exhausted, if you're able to get down to the core of each one of these emotions, every single one of these, the core of these emotions is love. And albeit none of these emotions feel good right now, what you can feel good knowing is that it all starts from a loving, caring place. I, for example, am really angry because I cannot see my parents. I have a little girl who goes to school, and because of our bubble being the size that it is now, I don't feel comfortable with us seeing my parents who live 10 minutes away. I'm really pissed off. I'm really angry. I can't see my parents. I'm angry at COVID. I'm angry at everything. But when I sit there and think about that anger, immediately my face goes flush. If you could see me, my face is actually flushed right now. But when I go down to, okay, what am I angry at? Well, I'm angry because I can't see my family. And that's just the core of it. But if I keep going down and deeper, okay, well, why is it that I'm upset that I can't see my family? Well, I saw my family every day for the entire summer, and now I can't see them. But why do I want to see my family? Because I love them. I adore them, and I want to be able to see them. And literally, if you drill down to the core of each one of these negative emotions that we're having about COVID, sometimes it can take the edge off if you actually understand and realize and recognize that each one of these negative emotions comes from love or something positive, something that you appreciate or love or are attached to, that is a positive thing. And again, it's not going to make these feelings go away, but it might soften them a little bit. And it's just something that I wanted to point out because I find it really helps me when I'm really in the heart of feeling frustrated. I'm just like, you know what, I'm frustrated because I love my family and I really want to see them. And then instantly it just kind of like dissipates. It doesn't go away, but it does dissipate. So now what? We're in all of these emotions. Now we're feeling these emotions, we're acknowledging these emotions, and we're talking about them, and they're out there. So now what do we do? Oftentimes when we release these emotions, we're left feeling quite raw and quite vulnerable. And so while I don't know exactly what emotions you're feeling, I wanted to try and give you some ideas on what to do now with these emotions to maybe help you better cope with the feelings that you are acknowledging and that you are seeing yourself having. So here are some suggestions that I have for what to do with these emotions. So the first one is naming the emotion, and this will help you disassociate from actually having the feeling and attaching that feeling to who you are. You are not your thoughts. You are a ball of energy and love and light, and the thoughts are happening almost to you. So if you name that emotion, and bear with me here. I actually give my emotions, my big emotions, names. So, like if you were to call your anger towards COVID, give it a name like, I don't know, Frankie, or or a name that you don't like. It disassociates you from that emotion. So now when am recognizing Frankie come into my consciousness, where I'm like, oh, I feel that Frankie coming on, it's it better enables me to disassociate from it, so I'm not so attached to it. I'm not so convinced that that's all I have, is that anger that I have. What I am able to do is look at Frankie and be like, you know what? Yep, there you are. There you are. Keep walking, Frankie, but I'm not you. You are separate from me, and I don't have to engage in you right now. Next thing I want to suggest is observe the situation and don't take it personally. It's really easy for us to focus on the impact that COVID or whatever the situation is having on you personally. And I say this in a very loving way, but your worst nightmare is someone else's blessing. And remember that, and think about how the rest of the world is being impacted as well. Another thing that I can suggest is what's called scaling your fear. So think about the absolute worst thing that you can ever think of to happen to you ever, um, in your realm of consciousness. Just think about the absolute worst thing and scale that on a number from 1 to 10, 1 being not very bad and 10 being the worst. Most likely it's probably going to be on a scale like 10 on the scale. And when you're feeling these really negative emotions about what's going on, I want you to think about where you would scale that compared to the worst thing that you'd ever imagine. And that can kind of give you a little bit more perspective as well as to, okay, this is the situation I'm in right now. Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible, but it's not as bad as the worst thing that I could ever imagine. So that's another tip that I found really helpful. Number 3 is own your response. Our response and our emotions are 100% up to us. And so what we have an opportunity now to do is to own our responses from the past, and moving forward, understand how we can potentially shift how we're responding to things and how you could do and be better. What this COVID is doing is it's giving us a really great opportunity to reflect on things, on life, our family, what's important to us. And so if you take in your responses and understand that that's completely up to you, how you respond to COVID, whether it be on social media, whether it be in conversations, whether it be how you interact with your family, that's all your responsibility, and you can own that. And that takes the onus off of giving that power away. You have control over that. You may not be able to control COVID, but you have control over what you say, think, and do. And that's an incredible power. And so what you can do is look at how you can improve and be better in how you are responsible and responding to everything that's happening around you. Number 4 is create a self-care ritual every damn day. You want to think about what things that you can do on a daily basis that help support and care for you and help you feel loved within yourself. this COVID is a real thing. It's real, it's tangible, and we need to have gentle kindness for ourselves and compassionate energy towards ourselves. And creating that self-care ritual will ensure that every single day we have an injection of love and kindness and self-care to make sure that we have the tools for the rest of the day to be able to handle what's coming to us. So I really urge you to create some kind of self-care ritual, whether you incorporate that with getting the emotions out with journaling, whether it's exercise, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whatever that is, whatever that looks like to you. It could be just sitting in quiet, or something that's going to fill you up, something that's going to make you feel loved. Do it every day. We need it more than ever. Do we ever need it? Number 5 is don't bottle it in. As you can tell, and as hopefully this video is helping you understand, that bottling in these emotions is not going to help you in the long run. It's actually going to hurt you. So please, please find the way to get these emotions out. Use those tips that I was mentioning a little while ago to get these emotions out. Don't bottle it. Make sure you're aware and fully understanding of what's going on for you, and get those emotions out. Acts of service and being of service to others can really help us deal with our emotions as well. And so I urge you all to pay this awareness forward. Talk to other people about how they're doing, have open communications with people, and strike up open communications with others to find out how they're doing, really doing. And a lot of times, when you ask someone, hey, if you need some help, let me know, how many times do you actually hear from them? So it's about being deliberate and specific about how you're going to approach someone to help them. If you notice someone's feeling a bit off, ask them specific questions. Don't just say, hey, how you doing? Be like, hey, I'm noticing your energy is a bit off. Are you doing okay today? Is there something that's really bothering you that maybe I can help you with? Start those conversations with people and see how you can pay this awareness forward, how you can help people, how you can be that service support person for someone that's struggling with COVID just like you are. And that feeling of service that you can provide to someone, I bet will help you deal with your emotions on such an immense level. And there could be some really great other connections that come into play, because a lot of what we're feeling right now is a loss of connection. And so it's up to us to really take those steps to spark the connections that are really important to us and that we're lacking. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it resonated with you. I hope you got some good tips and ideas out of it. Again, my name is Heather Stewart. I'm a Connecting to Bliss coach. You can reach me at connectingtobliss.com. You can find me on Facebook at Connecting to Bliss Coaching, or Instagram at Heather the Coach. Again, thank you so much, and be well.